Hello and welcome back to the channel. Now in this episode we're going to be working on a viewer's car. Now this is a Reliant Robin MK2, which is the 21st anniversary edition. Now this has a few little problems, but it's overall pretty good condition and I'd like to keep it that way. Now the viewer has brought a load of parts in a box, so we're going to be going through them and checking out what kind of things he wants us to fit for him, as well as if we spot anything else along the way. Now the first things first is let's take the car out for a quick drive and see how it runs. Okay, so let's see what this car is like before we do any work on it. It has the typical squeaky door hinges, so let's see how easy she fires up. Now this car has a list of things that needs to be done. Most of them seem relatively simple, but I always want to have a quick drive and just see how they are. Let's see how easy it fires up. Now the choke cable is halfway out, so the choke cable's not sitting in right. Let's just hope it works. That comes out really far. Oh, that handbrake is terrible. That's hard to start and it's running a bit lumpy, a bit rough. Conked out. Come on. She's not happy. I've got a little bit of throttle just to keep that revs going. No. This might take a while. She's not firing on all four cylinders straight away. There we go, she's kicking in. So that's something I want to address first because I'm not happy with how hard it is to fire up. So that's definitely got to be timing and carb related. You might be able to hear that. Right, I'm going to attempt to drive and see what it's like. Well, the engine feels like it pulls relatively well actually. There's a lot of stuttering, but again, it's not fully warmed up yet, so that might be the reason. A lot of travel in that brake pedal. The brakes seem to work, there's just a lot of travel in that brake pedal. Now this car's struggling a little bit under load. It feels like there's quite a misfire, and she does feel like she's struggling. Now, I'm not too happy with that, so I'm definitely gonna look into that. As for brakes, the brakes work, but there's a lot of travel. I'm not too happy with the brakes. The steering feels all right. I'm happy with the steering so far. The engine is idling, the choke's all the way in, the engine's idling quite high, which I'm not, again, happy about. I finally stopped. Then brakes aren't great. No, I don't like the suspension at all. Now, it's currently running single leaf spring suspension, and rather than the normal dampeners, it looks like it has the shock bit. It's supposed to have coils on it, but the spring has been removed, so it's just running the dampeners. Now, come on, girl. Now, I'm not very happy with that setup. Again, it's because it feels so boaty. And I'll be honest, when I say I don't feel that safe in this car at all. Soft suspension's okay, but it doesn't take the roll out of the car. So if you're over bumps, the car's rocking side to side, and I'm still misfiring. The car rocks side to side, so when you go over bumps, it doesn't stay true. The car's rocking down the road, and it takes some time for the car to stabilize. Now that's what can cause you a bit of a wobble and possibly flip you over. So that's definitely one thing I'm going to change. I think I'm going to take the shocks off the back and replace them with the standard shocks, as well as twin leaf springs as well. That should give him a very similar setup to what I have in mind. The trouble is with soft suspension is when you go around corners or sharp bends, your car tends to roll a lot to either side. Now, that's not ideal, because obviously the more you roll means the more that the car is pushing that momentum to that side, which of course is where you're going to get the rollover. I'm still getting loads of stuttering and misfiring, so something's definitely not right, either with the carb or the timing. I know that I can get this car running sweet enough. The engine sounds relatively healthy, it's just not set up correctly. The steering feels nice on this car though, and the steering returns straight to centre whenever you let go of the steering, which is good. So that means the steering box is free, and that means that the kingpin isn't seizing up or anything, so that's a good thing to see. I like that. Okay, so the heaters don't work, so that means there's something wrong with the fan. So all in all, she drives relatively well. The brakes definitely need doing. The steering's good. The suspension, I don't know. I think what I'll probably try and do is double leaf it and see what it's like with these shocks on. If that drastically improves the ride, then we'll see, we'll trial it with these shocks. Failing that, I'll probably put the standard shocks back on, because this car just feels so boaty, and when you're going around corners, it doesn't feel like it sticks to the road. It feels like it wants to lean. So I think if you went around a corner and then, say if you went a right-hand bend then straight into a left-hand bend, I think the car's going to give you that much momentum on the roll that it's probably going to lift a wheel and virtually two-wheel it round a corner. But the first thing is I'm going to do a twin leaf conversion and see just how well the suspension holds up like that. So let's get this in the garage and check over the other parts of the car. This should be quite interesting. Right, so now the car's in, let's just check on everything else, so things like lights, etc. So let's have a look. So let's see what works. So that's side lights and main lights, flash. Now I'm happy with them, they seem to work. What about, let's try hazards. Okay, something going weird there. So that is a front left indicator that's not working. So let's try individually. Right, left. Yeah, so the front left isn't working. Horn. No horn. Okay, what about washers? We have washers. We have wipers. Yeah, we have no heaters at all. We have a rear wiper. And the washers work. Now it's time to check out the rear lights. So, lights. And then brake lights. And fog lights. And reverse lights. And hazards. So we can see we have no reverse light or fog light on the driver's side. So all in all, I've seen a lot worse before, but we're going to take both lights out and give them a clean and a scrub and just try and get all of them working a little bit better as well. Other than that, easy fix on the lights. So let's see inside of the boot and see what that's like inside. Now the rear wiper looks old, that could do with replacing. Now that sounds like that needs a little bit of lubricant. But other than that, in the boot, it doesn't look too bad. Everything seems to be there. And it's even got the standard parcel shelf. Now that's a rare thing to see. And it's not broken. That is very rare. So we're going to make sure we take good care of this. Other than that, the seals around the boot look a bit old, but they don't look too bad. However, the window seals don't look all that great, so I think we're going to have to change them out. Let's put it back down. It looks like there was originally some sort of film or sticker in the back window. It's left loads of residue, so we're going to try and clean that off. But looking around the seals, they're all cracked, and this rubber's definitely perished, so we're going to see if we can get some fresh ones. Now I think the rear side windows, I think the seals on them definitely need replacing, because these do not look like they are doing much sealing work. So if we check underneath the car, first thing I spot is the metal plates that are holding the exhaust together. Now, these I don't like. I'm going to be changing these for the rubber straps, because your exhaust system should not be fixed to the chassis, because the engine moves at the front with it being rubber mounted, which means the whole exhaust system needs to be able to move with it. Now, with this being solid mounted and the engine movable, this is going to cause a lot of stress on the exhaust, especially where it goes into the engine at the front on the manifold. So we're going to have to check that manifold to see if there's any splits or any potential risk of damage on the exhaust at the front. So they are definitely going to be removed and changed for the rubber straps. They are the dampers I was talking about. Now, these kind of look like the front suspension that you can get for these, just without the springs. Now, these look like they are the height adjustable as well as the dampening adjust. So, will be interesting to see what this is like once the car is double leafed. And looking at the, I don't know if you can really see, but looking at the bushings on the anti-roll bar, I'll probably change them as well, just for peace of mind. Looking under the front end, now, of course, I'm going to be checking every single A-frame that comes through here. The first thing I notice is something's been welded underneath the A-frame to support a jack of something. Now, am I happy about that? No, but I will, once it's in the air, check to see if there's any corrosion behind that. Another thing I've spotted is this bar here is actually loose. Now, I don't know if the camera will be able to pick this up, but if you actually look at this bolt, you might see that the bolt actually moves. Now, I don't think the camera is going to be able to pick it up that well, but the bolts on both of these actually are wobbling inside the hole, so they're probably not tightened up correctly. So I'm going to check that, because that rod is slightly loose. Now, the front wiper looks, yep, definitely like that, going to need to be replaced. So if we open the bonnet and check the engine bay, now, what have we got in here? So straight away I can see a problem with the wiring that goes to the heater matrix. I'm going to have to check around that to see if we can make that work. The heater matrix doesn't quite fit in here properly, and also there's a little bit of corrosion, a bit of bodgery going on underneath the bonnet, which we will be sure to sort that out for him. Okay, so the owner has brought a large box of parts that he wants me to fit to this car. So let's just go through them and see what things we have. So the first thing is a freshly powder coated steel 10-inch wheel, which I think is for the front. Now this looks like it's been used as a trailer wheel in the past, because there's a cutout there which is usually for the grease nipple on the trailer hubs. So I would imagine that this brand new tyre is for that wheel. That's an easy job in itself. We also have this, which seems to be a freshly powder coated rocker cover, which looks very, very nice indeed. Even has a brand new breather on it as well. You don't see many of them anymore. So that is certainly going to make that engine look that little bit nicer. So what's in the box? Well, let's have a look. We have, oh, I'm jealous. We have nice shiny chrome door handles to fit. They are beautiful. Do you think you'll notice if I nick these? What's in this box? We have a distributor. Now, I don't think this is the right one for the car because it's new. What's the codings on it? There are no codes on this distributor. However, it is running a electronic distributor. Right, so even though that's brand new, we're not using this distributor because they never seem to run right on the cars. So I'm going to try and use his original one. Hopefully that's a matching numbers distributor, so the codes are going to be correct for that engine. If it is, then what we're going to do is try and use this electronic ignition module and put that into the original distributor, which should work flawlessly. We have mirrors, set of mirrors. These look nice. Can't say I'm a big fan of these big bullet type mirrors, but they do look pretty smart. I just hope that I'm going to be able to get them in position right, but they should look pretty snazzy. In this box we have a water pump, a nice new fresh water pump. That's going to be good for cooling, so that's going to go on the car. That's come with gaskets and bolts, so that's going to help a lot. We also have an oil filter, so I will be giving this car a full service as well, along with fresh 2050 oil, so that's good. We also have good and new choke cable. That's going to be a lot better than that thing that's in there. We have all new fuel line as well, which is good. So new fuel line, you can't moan with new fuel line, so that's going to go on. We also have a new wiper blade. Now me, I'd probably get another one as well, as I'd like to replace both front and rear, but the main one is the front, so we'll probably put that one on the front, providing it'll fit, and then probably try and get another one for the back. We have a radiator hose, a bottom radiator hose as well. Now looking at this one, this looks like the right one for the radiator he's got, because I believe he has the alloy radiator, which has the upsweep at the bottom of the radiator for the coolant hoses. So that one's going to work, and that's going to be a relatively easy job to do, which a lot of this will be done at the same time as we do the water pump, because I've got to pull the radiator out anyway to be able to do that properly. So a lot of this can be done at the same time. Oh, what's in this big box then? Okay, we have what appears to be a new starter motor. Can't say I feel anything wrong with that one, but ooh, look at that. Brand spanking new. That is lovely. I'll have to test this before it goes on just to make sure it's all working and that it fits, but that's really nice. What else do we have in here? We have a starter solenoid. Now, he's not going to need this. I don't know why it's come with this starter motor, because there's a solenoid on this. This type of solenoid is for the earlier starter motors, which are the inertia type starter motors, whereas they have like the big piece that runs through the side of the gearbox. They are the inertia starter motors. These are the pre-engaged starter motors. So as you basically turn the key, it will it goes through the solenoid, and then that will actually shoot that cog forward and engage with your flywheel. Now, the earlier starter motors, which are the inertia types, now they don't have a solenoid built in, so you have to have this separate solenoid. So the wires will go into this, come from this to the starter motor, and then as you hit the button, the solenoid will then activate the starter motor, which, with it being the inertia, as it spins, it's on kind of splines, which shoots the little sprocket forward onto the flywheel. Now, I'm not much for that kind of starter because they're a pain in the backside, especially when the car's a hard starter and you have to keep there on the key. And as soon as that flywheel turns a little bit faster than the starter motor, it'll automatically disengage, which is when you have that kind of a wind down of the starter motor. So that's why they're a pain in the backside. So anyway, long story short, he's not going to need this, so I'm going to put that back in the box. We have matte black spray paint for something. We also have looks like a fuel pump that's in very, very nice condition. Then again, it should be, being brand new. Very nice indeed. I'll have to make sure this is Reliant and not Mini, because there is a different shape to the hook. I'll double check with that. It looks right, but I'll double check with that with another one anyway. We also have new plug leads, which are always beneficial. So they're going to go on. Now, we don't need points because we're going to be using an electronic module anyway. And we have some good spark plugs to go with them. These look like the actual AccuSpark one, so it's probably come as a kit. So they'll be going in. They are wiper things. And we also have a rocker cover gasket. Now, I might leave that out because it's a bit bent out of shape. So I might leave that out to pull that back in shape. Along with that, we have more pack of spark plugs. So he's covered for spark plugs. We have a fuel filter, inline fuel filter. So that goes on usually towards the back of the car, near the fuel tank, basically just above the axle. All that's going to be going on this car, and possibly more, who knows, depends what I find. So with that complete, the first thing I want to do is try and get this engine running sweet. So we are going to start with the things in the engine bay. So guys, that is the end of this episode. If you've enjoyed the content on this car so far, then don't forget to hit the subscribe button, give it a like, and drop a comment. If you want to see me give this car the Pig Pals treatment, then join us on part 2, where we'll pull out the tools and get started on the work on this car. And with all that being said, folks, take it easy, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.